Hello and welcome. My name is Surya Mira from Connect Yoga. Welcome back for another Flow Friday video. My goal here in this space is to provide you with accessible and practical yoga flows to incorporate into your daily life, no matter your age, your level, and to really provide convenience for you to do this in the comfort of your own home. Go ahead and take a moment to like, subscribe, and click on the bell to sign up for live updates for every new release every single Friday. Be the first to know and stay in the know. This video is all about soothing, relaxing, and hopefully relieving any menstrual cramps that you might be experiencing during that time of the month. I feel it. Every single time I have my cycle, I do some of these poses and immediately feel relief. I swear by these poses during this time of the month, and so I pray that they are able to help alleviate some of that pain for you as well. So most of the poses we'll do will either be kneeling, seated, or on our back. Actually, that will be all of them. No standing poses because we're already in pain enough that we don't want to have to do more work than we are required to do. So we will start just by a few deep breaths. So inviting some intention and awareness into the body. So go ahead and come into a seated position or kneeling position. You can even lie down on your back if that feels good. I invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze. And we'll begin with a few collective breaths. So big, inhale through the nose for a count of 3, 2, 1, pause, and exhale for 3, 2, and 1. 2 more times. Inhale for 3, 2, 1, pause, exhale for 3, 2, and 1. Last time, big inhale, fill the belly with air, expand the rib cage, lift through the heart space and pause. An audible exhale, side out the mouth. Begin to invite awareness back into the space by opening your eyes, expanding your gaze. And we will start in the pose I always start in during this time, which immediately helps child's pose. So come into a kneeling position if you're not there already. Big toes touch. Your knees are wide. Allow your belly to sink in between your thighs. Your hips sink towards your heels. Forehead onto the ground. Arms are long out in front of you. And you should feel a nice stretch and release in the back here. I know sometimes the pain of the cramps expands not only in our lower abdominal area, but also through the low back. And sometimes our hips even become a little bit more tense and tight during this time as well. So these poses are meant to invite some movement into those areas to move around some stagnant energy, move around tension, and especially blood flow. So all of these poses will help to simulate blood flow, targeting those regions of the body, and that is what will be responsible for alleviating the pain. And as we're in these poses, I do encourage you to focus your attention either into those regions of the body, so the hips, the low back, the lower abdominal area, wherever you might be experiencing pain. And just imagine as you move through these poses, imagine the blood flow circulating around. Imagine the pain in those areas dissipating and leaving your body, and just visualizing what it might feel like to experience no pain during this time. So take one more breath here. And slowly begin to press your palms into the earth. And as you inhale, shift your weight up and forward, tabletop pose. So bring your palms underneath you and your knees come about hip width distance as they lie under the hips. Wrists are under the shoulders. We'll take a few cat-cows here. So as you inhale, lift your tailbone high. Drop your belly low, open through the heart, gaze is up to the ceiling. Exhale to send the tailbone forward, draw the navel into the spine, round out to the back, chin into the chest. 2 more times. Inhale. Tailbone high, belly low, gaze is up. And exhale to round and tuck, pressing really firm into the earth here. Last time. Inhale, move the spine like a snake with intention, ease, and precision. And exhale to round and tuck, really drawing the navel inwards, chin into the chest, press into the mat. And inhale, come back to center. Nice. And we'll lower onto our hips here, coming into a nice seated twist. So we're gonna get all spiraled up together here. So depending on your comfort level, coming into a seated pose just like this might feel good. I would suggest you bring, to start on the right side, bring the left heel in closer to the right glute and cross the right ankle over the left thigh. And we're in a seated pose here. As long as your right hip is mostly rooted into the ground, we don't want to be here. So again, natural tightness during this time, please listen to and honor your body. So as you arrive in this seated position, begin to inhale to lift the arms high. And as you exhale, bring your right palm either beside your right glute or behind your glutes entirely. And the left elbow comes onto the outside of the right knee here. And immediately you're in this twisted position. So I'll show you a side view here. So right hand near the glute or directly behind you. Keep the right foot planted onto the earth so your right leg stays hugged into the body, and left elbow onto the outside of the right thigh. And maybe it feels good to gaze past the right shoulder, twisting even more. You can also hug your right leg into the body with your left hand. That might feel really good. And a lot of blood flow and stimulation is going on right now. So hopefully you feel some sort of release already. And I'll slowly begin to unwind first and extend the legs out long. Maybe you give them a nice little shake. And draw the right heel in towards the left glute this time. And the left leg comes over and around. I'll face you. And inhale to bring the arms high, and as you exhale, twist. Nice. And again, really finding what feels good to you here. Again, maybe that's hugging the left knee in or bringing the elbow onto the outside. Or maybe you're just in this really simple twist here, where your right hand is on your left knee and your left hand is behind you. So this won't get as much of the stimulation going because your hips are open, more open than they are sort of twisted and contracted sort of in this version of the twist. So that's why I recommend this one. But if you feel too much tightness, we don't want to force it. Take another breath here. And you should also feel this for the leg that's on top. You should also feel a nice stretch on the outer left hip, and that alone will provide a lot of relief, and that might even extend to the left side of the low back as well. And go ahead and slowly unwind out of the twist, unwind the legs, extend them out nice and long, give them a nice little shake. And we'll swing the legs around us. We'll come back into a seated or into a tabletop pose. So I'm going to show you 2 versions of where we're going next. So pigeon pose. So slide your right leg up, your right knee rests towards your right wrist, your right ankle near your left wrist. And slide your left leg back. So you're creating openness in your hips here. The back toes are untucked. Walk your hands up to your body. Allow your hips to sink, settle, and align. So what I mean by that is sometimes we're all the way up here and we're more activated and more engaged than we want to be. So if you allow the hips to open up to their full potential, you receive more of the benefits. And also, oftentimes we sink onto the hip that's in front and we want to bring both hips in alignment with each other. So when you walk your hands up, you naturally feel this sinking occur, and it might help to lift your hands off of the ground to feel that happen. And as it feels good, begin to walk your hands out in front of you. You can rest onto your forearms, your forehead, the ground. If you have a block, you can bring a block underneath your head. That always feels nice. If you feel like you're collapsing too much onto the right side, you can also bring a block underneath your right hip, and that makes it a little bit more passive for you. So again, we're focusing on the circulation within the hip region now and into the low back. And the alternative option for this is to take it reclined. So if this feels good where you are, stay there. I'll just show you the version just in case. But you'll come onto your back and you'll rest your right ankle onto the top of your left thigh. And this might feel good enough, but I would encourage you to draw your left knee into your chest by interlacing your fingers behind your left thigh, and the knee comes closer into the body. So pretty much the same benefits here. So if you're really just over it and in a lot of pain and you don't feel like it's necessary for you to do this elevated in this way, then I would suggest doing it reclined. So we'll take another breath here and begin to walk the hands back up to the body. Sit nice and tall, and you'll plant your palms in front of you. Slide your right leg back, slide the left leg forward, and we'll take that on the other side. Option to take this lying down as well. So bring your left ankle as close to your right wrist as possible. So really, your left ankle might be in alignment with your left knee, but if you are really tight or your body's not used to this, then you see my leg is sort of sliding down. It's all based off of your anatomy. So wiggle your right leg behind you, walk your hands up to the body, allow the hips to really sink and settle. You'll see I'm creating more space naturally here, and as it feels good, walk the hands out. And if you feel your left hip sinking over to the left side, go ahead and place your block or blanket, any sort of prop you have big enough to go under the left hip, or just mindfully bring your right hip down. And that will naturally create more space and bring your left hip slightly upwards. And imagine the circulation in the hips and the low back, that alleviating pain visually. Imagine the pain leaving your body. Envision yourself feeling good and healed and no longer in pain. Take another breath here. And begin to come back onto the palms. Lift the upper body and just rest onto the glutes. Extend both legs around you to the front of your space. Maybe you give your legs a nice little shake here. And we're going to make our way onto our back. So come onto the soles of your feet, and maybe it's helpful to draw the knees closer into the chest. Grab the backs of the legs so there's as minimal engagement as possible as you go down. And as you roll down, you're going to roll your knees with you. So nice one motion. And draw the knees into the body. Begin to allow both legs to sway over towards the right side. So taking the supine twist here. The gaze is over the left shoulder. Your right hand can rest onto the top knee, or your arms can be extended out in a T or bent cactus at the elbows. So in this pose, this is really good for a lot of the internal organs involved and not involved as well. So not only is this good for pain alleviation for cramps, but also for detoxing the body because of how the body is twisted, essentially. And you should also feel this stretch in the low back, especially on this side, on the left. And the further you press your legs down to the ground, the more you might feel that. You might even draw the knees closer in towards the chest in the twist. And you should really exaggerate the stretch here. So Please stay in any of these poses as long as you want. If you want to pause the video, come back to the video, do what you need. But we'll transition onto the other side. So bring the knees into the chest. And I like to recalibrate the spine before I jump to the other side. So I like to draw my knees into my chest and my forehead into my knees to lengthen out the spine before we twist it in the opposite direction. And lower the head down and your legs fall over to the left side. It is good to note that you might need to lift your hips and lower onto them again to create more space. So without doing that, you might just find yourself with your legs falling to the side and not fully into the stretch. For me, I lift and lower. It does not have to be that dramatic, but I wanted to show you what that looks like for dramatic purposes. But it's really a very small motion that you might even be doing unconsciously already. So again, arms extended, cactus, left hand onto the right knee if that feels good, or you can even draw the knees closer into the body to exaggerate the stretch here in the back. Maybe you close your eyes, soften the gaze. You're also giving the opportunity to massage your internal organs while detoxing and getting blood flowing and circulating. So much is happening internally here, and this is really in any supine twist that you take. So we did one seated, now reclined. So we'll take one more breath. Go ahead and come back to center, rest onto the back. I'll take a brief Shavasana, which also has its own benefits. Extend the legs and the arms out long and wide, off the side of the body. And if your eyes were not already closed or your gaze isn't soft, go ahead and find that for yourself. And while you're here, just to explain the benefits in this pose, this is mostly for relaxation. So Shavasana, the English term is corpse pose, is a pose traditionally done at the end of a yoga practice, sealing the deal and allowing the body time to integrate everything that you just did in your practice, allowing calming, relaxation into the body and the mind. Think of it as a conclusion in a book or in a paper, a finale. So before you get back to your day and what you were doing before you entered into the practice, this is the opportunity to take a final moment for you. But for the sake of why we're here in this video, this is a moment for your body to integrate everything that you just did for the sake of healing your cramps, any pain you may be experiencing in the body, and to simply assert the relaxation of the mind and the body before you continue on with your day. So please feel free to stay here as long as you need. You can pause the video or return back to it later, but for the sake of time, we'll begin to come out of the pose. So begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes and roll over onto one side of the body here, coming into a fetal position. And press your elevated palm into the earth beneath you to assist you into your seated cross-legged position or your kneeling pose. And allow your palms to come to your heart. If you wish, you can allow your hands to rest onto your knees. I am truly hopeful that this video was helpful for you and that you're able to notice any subtle differences in your body in the areas that there were pain. Keyword, were pain. Because I hope that it's no longer there, and notice that the pain has either been alleviated or significantly reduced. So these are super great poses to do during this time of the month. Please feel free to save this video for later, so every month you can return to it on your own time. And remember that you can hold these poses as long as it feels good for you. These poses are some that I do during my time in the month, and I can hold them, as a collective up to 30 minutes, and will feel a major shift in how I feel. And you don't need to do that by any means. You can hold it for a few breaths and move on, and hopefully you'll feel a difference. But again, that gentle reminder of always listening to and honoring your body. So If you liked what you saw today, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and click the bell to receive live updates from every Friday when new videos are released. If you have any questions, comments, or special requests for future videos, go ahead and drop it in the comments. And know that with my business Connect Yoga, I also offer weekly virtual sessions as well as private one-on-one and group sessions for any of your needs. So check out the website below, and I'll see you next Friday.